continue our report, let us now proceed to the consumer in globalized popular culture. What's the importance of understanding the consumer base of globalized popular culture? In a world where technology is advancing daily, people may now learn about many cultures at speeds and in ways that were previously unthinkable. Consumers' values and financial decisions are evolving as a result of widespread communications. As a result, there is a growing number of global citizens who actively engage in a global marketplace where multinational companies provide brands that cater to their changing needs and desires. Global brands are valued by many participants in this global consumer culture. Despite being intangible, a brand is a vital asset that helps business stand out in the marketplace. As a result, centralized marketing strategies that appeal to world citizens are becoming more and more important. Next, what's the demographic, psychographic, and cultural factors that influencing consumer preferences? Internal elements such as perception, learning, motivation, personality, and attitudes affect how consumers make decisions. We determined several new trends that affect how consumers make decisions. The external elements, demographic, social, situational, and cultural, that affect how consumers make decisions. Demographics are a significant collection of factors that should not be disregarded when trying to comprehend and interact with customers. Numerous factors, including age, sex, wealth, education, and marital status and movement, can have a big impact on how consumers behave. The influence of global brands, media, social media, and influencers on consumer choices. One of the biggest influences on our behavior and the areas we choose to live in this culture. It might be a highly developed form that incorporates almost every facet of the experience that people generally share, and culture sets the social norms that people must follow to fit in with their community. Social media users with a sizable fan following, a regular posting schedule, and brand usage of marketing communications are also known as social media influencers. Because of social media's persuasive power, social media influencers are more approachable and alluring because they represent an affordable third-party advocate. According to recent statistics, 50% of social media users believe social media influencers' suggestions and 40% of those users end up buying the goods. Consequently, marketers fund social media influencers to cultivate positive consumers. And that concludes our report. Thank you for listening. Today, let's talk about structuralism, semiology, and popular culture presented by Group 3. Before we proceed to the main topic, let us first know who is Ferdinand de Saussure. Saussure was a Swiss linguist, semiotician, and philosopher. His ideas laid a foundation for many significant developments in both linguistics and semiotics in the 20th century. He is widely considered one of the founders of 20th century linguistics and one of two major founders, together with Mr. Charles Sanders Peirce, of semiotics, or semiology as Saussure called it. Next, structural linguistics and ideas of Saussure. Saussure developed structural linguistics based on the notion of the value of the sign or signifier relationship, that is, the interdependence of other items in the language which delimit the meaning of one particular sign, and the organizational principles of syntagmatic relations or string of signs and paradigmatic relations or set of signs. His work later influenced Bloomfieldian or American structuralism and through this school, foreign language teaching methods such as the polylingual method. Next is structuralism, culture, and myth. For anthropology, Lévi-Strauss understood that the ways we think about the world is more based on concept and organization of truth than the things themselves. The way we categorize and think about the things we interact with are not inherent in the things themselves, but are socially and culturally based. As we grow in this world, society tells us what things are and how we should think about them. We look at a dog and are told it's a dog, but later we see something that way bigger than the original dog, but it's still a dog. Next is structuralism in James Bond, an analysis of contemporary popular culture which shares much in common with the structuralist approach while not committing itself to all the presuppositions held by a writer like Lévi-Strauss. Is Umberto Eco's study of the James Bond novel, written by Ian Fleming. A critical consideration of this study can show us how structuralism works as a way of studying contemporary popular culture as well as the limitations it confronts.
So now let's talk about Barthes' structuralism and semiology. So semiology, unlike structuralism, acknowledges culturally specific signs and codes, rejecting the idea of a universal structure underlying science system. However, it emphasized that these codes and signs are essential for creating meaning and understanding the world. He saw semiology as a method for critiquing various myths by analyzing how they convert class culture into a perceived universal culture. Although he initially embraced semiology as a systematic science, he later hesitated in this view. So semiology, like structuralism, uses material reality as constructed and understood through culturally specific systems of meaning, rejecting the notion of pure objective experiences. So it emphasized that meaning is produced through historically and socially specific codes, conventions, and signs, challenging the idea of universal cultural meanings. So the next one is Writing Degree Zero, for the topic of Writing Degree Zero. So this book critiques Franz Kafka's writing style, which claimed universality but actually served bourgeois interest. He argues that all writing is ideological and historically specific, rejecting the notion of neutral or non-ideological writing. Barthes shows how myth works through the distortion of meanings, naturalizing historical and social constructs. He emphasized the need for semiotic analysis to uncover the ideological nature of myth, which often goes unnoticed by consumers who saw it as natural and actual. So, next one, myths and popular culture. So, Barthes views myth as a form of communication and suggests applying semiotics to analyze it. So, using the example of process symbolizing fashion, he illustrates how signs and meanings interact within myths. Barthes introduced the idea of myth as a second-order semiotic system, drawing upon signs from other systems to convey meaning. He exemplifies this with a photograph from Paris Match, where a black soldier saluting the French flag represents a deeper narrative of French imperialism.
Before we move on to him, let me share some words about bourgeoisie men and women novelists. The Book of Dominic's Trinity. Novelists focus on the lives and experiences of middle-class men and women, particularly in relation to their social status, relationships, and struggles within society. The characters in his novels often grapple with themes of class, gender, and identity, providing insight into the complexities and challenges faced by individuals within the bourgeoisie class. Trinity's work sheds light on the nuances of everyday life for these characters, highlighting their personal growth, conflicts, and aspirations. So, do you all know him? He is a French anthropologist and ethnologist. His work was key in the development of theories of structuralism and structural anthropology. He is Lévi-Strauss. Lévi-Strauss structuralism critics argues that Lévi-Strauss lacks empirical evidence as his theories rely on selective examples and abstract concepts rather than concrete research. His focus on mental structure overlooks the role of history and human agency in shaping culture, leading to an unhistorical and deterministic view. Additionally, his emphasis on unconscious process raised questions about empirical validation and the role of human awareness. Furthermore, his binary opposition between nature and culture oversimplifies complex cultural dynamics, ignoring the cultural specificity of this concept and their historical and sociological context. He is a French literary theorist, essayist, philosopher, critic, and semiotician. He is Roland Gerard Barthes. Barthes' semiology is seen as historical and linked to social force and class interests, but it faced challenges in empirical validation and attributing meaning to cultural items. His interpretations lack clear validation, and his focus on signs overlooks their social context and the perspective of their audience. The analysis also overlooks the context of sign production and the interpretations made by the people who consume them. Additionally, Barthes' view of ideology is criticized